katika mgao wa bajeti, ofisi hii haijaweza kupata mgao huo.
The office of former President Uhuru Kenyatta dismisses claims by the government that it has been funding him, stating that he has been financing his operations out of his own pocket.
Bwana Chair and your committee, tafadhali, hii kitu ni ya muhimu sana kwa hawa wanafunzi wa Kenya ambao wanaketi pale shuleni. Tusifanye mashule zifunge.
The public participation process for the Finance Bill 2024 concludes with the general public submitting their views. The Finance Committee is expected to table their report in Parliament next week.
The perception of Kenyans, how they would rate the president on this aspect, and that's why he has an overall mean score of D.
And President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua each receive a grade of D in the latest InfoTrack performance ratings, with the majority of Kenyans expressing dissatisfaction with their ability to address the issues affecting the nation. Plus, junior secondary school intern teachers who have been protesting for permanent employment terms start receiving termination letters from the Teacher Service Commission on grounds of professional misconduct. Well, good evening to you. Welcome to K24 Evening Edition. I'm Alan Owino. Our sign language interpreter for the session is Evelyn Wangui. Now, an unknown number of junior secondary school teachers have been sacked by the Teacher Service Commission just a day after the teachers called off their weeks-long strike. The letters issued to the intern teachers indicated that their services have been terminated on the basis of professional misconduct. Mombi Wambugu with that report.
Junior secondary school teachers across the country took to the streets to demand their rights. However, yesterday they called off the strike, giving the government a 1-month period to address their issues. Just a day later, termination letters have been served to the demonstrating teachers. One of the letters, seen by K24 TV, explained that the recipient had been terminated on the basis of misconduct. Last month, the Teachers Service Commission threatened to sack the teachers if they failed to return to work and issued them show-cause letters. The teachers were part of the 46,000 recruited last year. In a meeting with TSC and JSS representatives, which K24 TV is privy to, the representatives sought clarifications on why the terminations were sent before the interns would get a chance of fair hearing. Why they sent the letters to those who had responded to their show-cause letters and to those who didn't, and which criteria was being used to leave others out. JSS interns are also questioning why the letters were lacking the TSC official rubber stamp. The mass sacking risks the functionality of Kenya's education system, which is already strained due to understaffing. The curriculum is still facing deeper challenges, including lack of proper learning tools and equipment to facilitate the competency-based curriculum system of education. Mombi Wambogo, K24 TV.
The third retired head of state, President Uhuru Kenyatta, is now accusing the government of refusing to allocate his office a budget for 2 consecutive years, depriving him of his constitutional needs. As Bentura Kwamboka reports, the deprived funds have forced the retired head of state to foot his office bills from his pocket. Bentura Kwamboka begins with that story.
The retired third president enjoys a fully furnished and maintained office space of his choice, and he chose his residence next to Dennis Pritt there at Gate D of State House. It's official. And this is fully furnished and paid by the government. He is entitled to 2 new cars of his choice that should be replaceable every 3 years with an engine capacity of at least 3,000 cc. Office of the third retired president already has 33, so they have 1 more slot that they can ask for, because they are the ones who supplied the list of the 33. And they are already deployed and earning salaries. And I wish to confirm that the office of the retired third president has staffers very well paid, with some at higher job groups the level of a principal secretary.
Barely 2 weeks ago, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura outlined the benefits provided to former presidents, which the office of the retired third head of state refutes.
While the picture painted by Mr. Mwaura of the government's commitment to support the office of the retired president in accordance to the law is the ideal situation, it saddens this office to inform the public that unfortunately that picture does not exist. And our worry as an office is a precedence that is being set by the government of the day. Their decision to blatantly ignore execution of the Presidential Act No. 11 of 2023 seems to open up a Pandora's box that will leave a retired head of state at the mercy of the government of the day.
And now a visible Cold War stemming from the 2022 succession politics seems to have played out today after former head of state Uhuru Kenyatta accused the government of denying his office a budget for 2 years, crippling its operations. Through his spokesperson, Kanze Dena Mararo, Kenyatta has cited frustrations and mistreatment from State House.
Katika juhudi zetu zote za kuweza kuwasiliana na ofisi ya State House ili kuweza kujua na kuelewa hali ni ipi na kwa nini mambo yanaendelea vile yalivyo, hatujaweza kupata mwelekeo wowote. Manaka kile waraka tunaoandika hatupati majibu, na majibu yanapokuja yanakuja na simu na huelewi ni ipi unachukua na ipi uchukui. Manake hupati simu moja, unapata simu zaidi ya moja ikiwa na mielekeo tofauti. Sisi kama ofisi hatujapenda kweli kuweza kuzungumza masuala haya kwenye mhadhara. Tumejaribu sana kadri ya uwezo wetu kuweza kuwasiliana na ofisi hii kupitia nyaraka na hata kujaribu kutafuta nafasi ya kuweza kuzungumza, lakini juhudi zetu zote zimegonga mwamba.
According to the Director of Communication, the government has only provided 28 million shillings out of the 655 million shillings allocated for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. These amounts covered allowances for domestic travel and facilitation of 2 trips, representing just 4.4% of the total budget. However, it did not include payment for salaries and medical insurance. For the financial year ending 2023-2024, the office of the former president has yet to access the allocated 503 million shillings, bringing the total of unmet funds to 1 billion shillings. Setting the record straight at the Uhuru Kenyatta Institute, where it is run on goodwill, Kanze has refuted claims that the government has acquired new vehicles for the former president. She noted that Kenyatta's fuel cards and vehicle maintenance have been blocked since March of 2023.
Agreed upon by State House that the former president uses these vehicles on transitional basis as they begin the process of procuring new vehicles as stipulated in the Presidential Benefits Act. That is 2 new vehicles of the retired president's choice, replaceable every 3 years, and each car having an engine capacity not exceeding 3,000 cc's. 2 four-wheel motor drive vehicles of the retired president's choice, also replaceable every 3 years, each vehicle having an engine capacity of 3,000 to 4,000 cc's. Just a point of note as well, the late President Daniel Arap Moi and the late President Mwai Kibaki were allocated and maintained more than double the number of vehicles that have been allocated to the third retired president to ensure optimum running of his office. There were fuel cards that were issued, and the fuel cards were given, as well as the maintenance of the vehicles, but that has not been done because the cards were blocked in the month of March 2023 to date, that is.
At the same time, Dena has pointed out intimidation of its staff via calls and failure by the government to renew 2 of the staff's contract.
The office still awaits the confirmation and communication on why they blatantly refuse to renew contracts of 2 professional staff members, the administrator, Mr. George Karaoke, and Mrs. Kanze Dena Mararo, who is the Director Communication. There is also the issue of unceremonious withdrawal and intimidation of staff via phone calls at midnight. We have provided a list of the complete staff serving in the office of the retired third president, and would also like to clarify that the list that Mr. Mwaura presented in his statement had the wrong tally. Those members of staff that were there were 32 and not 33, when the Act provides for 34 members of staff.
Last month, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura listed a total of 12 vehicles allocated to Uhuru Kenyatta and former First Lady Mama Ngina Kenyatta for their movement, including 2 Toyota Land Cruisers, 1 Mercedes-Benz, 4 Toyota Prados and 2 Range Rovers. Additionally, the government provided a fully furnished and maintained office space of its choice, paid for by the government. However, this report contradicts accounts revealed by the office of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. In a rejoinder, the government has stated that it has provided 14 vehicles to the Kenyatta's office. The government also mentioned that Kenyatta rejected the office located in Nyari and has not forwarded the names of 2 staffs whose contracts needs renewal to the State House Comptroller. Bentura Kwamboka, K24, Nairobi.
The public participation process on the Finance Bill 2024 has concluded, with the Finance Committee now retreating to prepare a report to be tabled in Parliament next week. Kenyans participating in the process have warned MPs against adopting contentious clauses, including taxes on bread and motor vehicles. Here's Joel Chacha with the report.
Best regards to the viewers.
After over 2 weeks of the Finance Committee listening to stakeholders and experts on the Finance Bill 2024, today was the final day with the general public getting an opportunity to submit their views.
I am an education activist.
Human rights activists say the imposition of 16% VAT on bread risks starving school-going children.
Let us ensure that we keep these children at school, because some of them, they come because of this piece of bread. So, I want to urge you, Bwana Chair and your committee, tafadhali, hii kitu ni ya muhimu sana kwa hawa wanafunzi wa Kenya ambao wanaketi pale shuleni. Tusifanye mashule zifunge.
I witnessed scenarios where students collapse because they have gone for many days without food. And it is this bread that now you want to charge 16% on, that these students turn to during such circumstances.
The proposed 2.5 tax on motor vehicles was rejected on accounts that it will make public transport expensive, further burdening the common mananchi.
Our proposal is, Chair, the whole provision is deleted in its entirety. The rationale is the proposed tax offends the principle of taxation in that it is double taxation, considering that the vehicle was paid for tax at purchase and attracts operational taxes through fuel, services, and other consumables.
The amendment does not stipulate how the valuation of the vehicles shall be done, because now the 2.5% has been taken to the insurance firms. So how these insurance firms will be evaluating these vehicles each and every year to validate the 2.5% that they should contribute.
A section of Kenyans also took the stage to send a stern warning to their members of parliament against disregarding their voices while considering such an important bill in favor for the executive.
How scary is President Ruto that the members of parliament cannot say no to him? How scary is President Ruto that deep down your heart, you know that the things that are being passed are oppressive to the citizens, but you pass them without the change of comma?
My area MPs are UDA, but Teso South had rejected the finance bill. And if the member of parliament will vote yes, that will be upon him.
The Kuria Kimani-led committee will now retreat to prepare a comprehensive report to be tabled on the floor of parliament next Tuesday. Voting on the bill is scheduled for Thursday.
From Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, is going through clause by clause of what the members of the public has said and compare that with what has been proposed in the finance bill. And hopefully now on next Tuesday next week, we have our report ready for tabling.
An assurance of the public views being taken into account has also been made, while dismissing assertions that such an exercise is a PR gimmick.
As we retreat, we want to assure Kenyans that this was not an exercise in futility. We want you to hold us to account on the views that what the bill is and what the committee report is going to be. We are going to make sure that we accommodate as much as possible the views of Kenyans, even as we try to balance generating revenue to fund the budget estimates of 24-25.
Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Well, that report by Joel Chacho brings us to a fast break right here on K24 Evening Edition. We'll be back with more in a short while.
Have you watched K24? We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any platform to reach us. We can be reached on Facebook, SMS, Twitter and WhatsApp.